Turning now to this week's top story, AI dominates tech earnings. In those calls from Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta, the recurring theme was artificial intelligence, each company laying out its case to investors for why they, and they alone, are the vanguards of AI. Take a listen.
These large language models and generative AI capabilities, they've been around for a while, but frankly, the models were not that compelling before about 6 to 9 months ago, and they have gotten so much bigger and so much better much more quickly.
In search, we've been using AI for a while. It's what has really helped lead search and search quality for the past few years.
We will continue to invest in our cloud infrastructure, particularly AI-related spend, as we scale with the growing demand driven by customer transformation. And we expect the resulting revenue to grow over time.
As hiring resumes, you'll find the biggest areas that we are hiring in will be to support priority areas like generative AI.
And the corporate dollars might be heading to AI, but let's look at what investors in the space think. Joining us now is Brett Winton, Chief Futurist at ARK Investment Management, and Sachin Dev Duggal, founder of Builder.AI. Brett, let's start with you. We continue to hear quite a bit about AI as it relates to cloud, as it relates to advertising with some of these big tech companies. Which are the areas in which you see the most potential and growth going forward with AI?
Well, it's clear that there's going to be, we believe, trillions of dollars that will be spent on AI software over the course of this business cycle. And it's interesting to me that everybody seems to think that mega cap tech is the place to play. That might be the most dangerous place to be, given how they were all in their own competitive swim lanes, and now they're all competing with each other in this emerging technology area. So we actually think some of the interesting places to invest are companies that have deployed end-use assets and can deliver AI software to those assets. So take Tesla, has the largest deployed fleet of robots in the world. If you can turn those cars they sold into robo-taxis, then that transforms their economic model. Given the pace of advance in AI, Tesla is better positioned to take economic advantage of it than some of the underlying AI-focused tech companies that are beginning to compete with each other in a really aggressive way.
I would argue that's still a big if that Tesla has not proven out, at least not yet, Brett. But I want to come back to that in a minute because I want to bring Sachin into this discussion because his company does AI. Now, you can't invest in it yet, at least not in the public markets. It's a privately held company. But Sachin, I'm curious, there is such this clamoring about AI. What are you hearing from customers and potential customers? Is this something that they are getting really excited about here? And just for people who aren't familiar, give us the 20-second description of what you guys do.
Oh, no, thank you so much again for having me. I think the most important thing I'm hearing is a little bit of hysteria meets a little bit of confusion, if I'm honest. So our platform allows people to build software. We use AI in combination with human efforts. So think of it like Lego-like reusable features to allow people to build any kind of software application. And what we're hearing from customers is an element of excitement because it's something new and everybody's talking about it. But it's coming with an equal dose of confusion in terms of how they might use it. Is it really new? Will they have to change sort of their labor hiring and labor patterns? And it overall just seems very misunderstood, especially given we are probably in the AOL of the AI world right now, whereas the perception with some folks is that we're in the fiber optic world of AOL, of broadband.
Brett, a lot of companies are talking about the fact that this is an inflection point, or we've heard some commentaries about that we're in an inflection point right now. Are we? I mean, what is it that suddenly in the last 6 to 9 months, everything accelerated and we are now seeing the great benefits of AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think it always looks like an inflection point when you're in the moment. But I think if you fast forward 3 years, this will seem like a relatively flat place, and that will seem like an inflection point. The cost to train AI systems are falling 3x per year in our view. So, if you are 6 months behind in AI, that's the equivalent of being 2 years behind in computers and traditional technology cost decline. So,
but I mean, if clearly, the opportunity, though, Brett, is as big as you say, it doesn't feel zero sum, does it? In other words, like, even if, let's just take, I mean, it's not apples to apples, which you'll see why that's not the best pun. Like the Apple model, in other words, like it comes late, but it does it better. Like, is AI not going to be like that? Do you have to be first here?
You don't have to be first, and there is, I agree, clearly a tremendously large opportunity ahead of these companies, but it is, in our view, a platform transition. And usually in platform transitions, incumbents stumble. And so look at Google search. That is a franchise that is a massive monopoly. It's worth, 100 plus, it's 160 billion in revenue per year. And that profitability is being put under threat by AI. So the fact that the opportunity is so large means these companies that right now are very large actually might be small relative to the ultimate opportunity. That both means, hey, if they can get in front of this, they can grow quite a bit larger, or it means somebody else could eat them up along the way.
Sachin, how do you see spending as far as your clients are concerned going forward? I mean, are they putting this as a priority when it comes to spending in AI? And what do you see going forward if there is a slowdown?
I think the widest spectrum is we're seeing more people build software at an unprecedented pace. Today, the worldwide demand for developers is probably over 500 million, and the worldwide supply is probably shy of 50 million. And I think this is driven largely by every echelon of the business sort of pyramid, right? From small businesses or micro SMBs, up to enterprises, the edge of enterprise. There's almost 100 million new companies being started every year. And so you're definitely not seeing a slowdown. I think what you're seeing now, and especially what happened with AI, is the user interface has changed. You've gone from a world where we used to give people tools and people struggle to use them. Most people use a calculator with Excel, for example. And if I said Java, they think coffee, not a programming language. And I think what you're seeing with what's happening now is the user interface has gone back to something that they feel a lot more comfortable, which is conversation or speech or that chat-like experience, but it's much richer. So you're seeing a lot more demand. The interfaces are becoming easier, especially with sort of platforms like ours. And we're taking away the technical expertise that you needed to be in the digital game, and which means now that small businesses will start using more and more AI, more and more recommendation systems, which, by the way, are not new technologies. They've been around for a while, but they've just become more mainstream.
Yeah, and I guess the ease of use, to your point, might be experiencing a change. Sachin, one more for you, because your comment caught my attention a few moments ago when you talked about the hysteria and confusion around AI. What would be like the big picture message that you would want to put out on that front to try to clear up the hysteria and confusion?
Yeah, I think it's a very powerful technology, but it's not new. And the ramifications of it are still not understood, partly because it hasn't really reached prime time. And so when you think about where AI is today, it's almost like a young child, and so needs to be sort of looked at and evaluated as a young child that can do some really incredible things, but it's still a young child. It hasn't built a value system as such. And when I think about how people are concerned like the jobs are going to disappear tomorrow, I think what you're going to first see before really jobs disappear en masse is you're going to see people become more efficient or more efficient, because there is generally across industries a massive mismatch between demand, which is growing rapidly, and supply and the rate at which we can produce skilled labor. And I think just the AI itself is very nuanced. Everything is not a large language model. Everything is not going to sort of be in front of you tomorrow. And so for the creative elements of society, it's great because it gets rid of some of the mundane work. And then for business processes is also really solid because it's allowing businesses to operate with lower costs, which I think is really key for where the world is right now.
And Brett, finally, want to turn the last one to you. Given, I'm sort of torn here because on the one hand, I'm getting the message that it's early yet, and we don't know quite yet how this is going to play out. On the flip side, you're saying like there are companies that already have an advantage here and going to push ahead. Brett, for an investor, what do I do between those various messages?
Well, I think it can both be early and large, as in if the ultimate opportunity is very large, and companies are already seeing ROI on deploying AI against their processes today, it means that you will see a lot of companies pull ahead of the competition because they're more agile, they're more innovative, they have distributed assets that they can push AI software into, and kind of the ultimate opportunity for those companies could be transformative. So we believe that the entire business landscape is turning over under people's feet, and it's not a small turnover. It's a big, monumental, historical turnover comparable to the innovation cycle 100 years ago with electrification and the internal combustion engine and the telephone all entering the marketplace at the same time. That's really the scope of what's occurring here. And it means that every technology is going to accelerate. It's not just AI. Every company is going to have to become a technology company to compete and survive. And, every person is going to effectively become a coder using an AI system. Every knowledge worker will, at least. And so we believe that this will both transform the economy and that we are in the earlier stages. Both of those things can be true simultaneously.
Yeah, no big deal. I'm just kidding. Brett Winton, drawing a rather grand picture there. Brett Winton, Chief Futurist at ARK Investment Management, and Sachin Dev Duggal, founder of Builder.AI. Thanks to you both. Really appreciate your perspectives.